Let me ask you about the associations within the floor covering business. I know that there's been vehicles for the associations to work together, and maybe some of them have. But it seems like there's an opportunity to do so even more. And again, update me on that. Maybe that's been happening and just I didn't see it. What's happened up to this point, and what are your expectations going forward about interactivity among the industries association?
Well, I think that's a great point. I think what we've seen is really there's been sort of a changing of the guard across several of the associations. You have Michelle Miller at the NAFCD, you've got Scott down at WFCA now. So we've all kind of come into our positions in the last 5 years. So we're looking for more and more ways to be complementary to each other, which I think is the recession drove a lot of those conversations too, not only for us but for our businesses. How can we take costs out of the channel? How can we work better together to survive this type of thing? So those conversations started really primarily during those recession years to say, hey, let's not duplicate things in the marketplace. There's no point in us spending funding on something that WFCA is going to do, for example, or vice versa. So how do we work closer together? And we just have to know what we're doing instead of being sort of in a vacuum. And I think particularly for us, because we're really a niche market within flooring, it's important to have those partnerships and those relationships that help us be the voice of wood flooring throughout those other organizations, but also to learn what's happening in the rest of the supply chain because it's all connected in some way.
I guess one of the places I was coming from is at least the manufacturing organizations, and I guess to an extent everybody else, the people that make wood also make other products and are members of other associations. Right. It would almost seem like, knowing the history of this industry, how can we pare those costs down? There would be pressure to combine some of these one way or another. I don't know that there has been, but do you see that pressure taking place going forward?
No, I really don't. I mean, I think in particular from our perspective, we've had a niche meeting around for 30 years, and it really is the core wood industry. So some of the companies that do multiple different types of flooring lines, they might look at surfaces as a different sort of vehicle for them because they can get their whole product offering out into the marketplace in one place. That's a little different. And some of those companies also have their own retailer shows, and they go on the road and they do their own pieces too. So when you look at the overall bigger picture of those companies, there's some shifting that's happening that for the rest of the market isn't. The implications are different.
Talk about some of the programs that your organization has been involved in. I know training is a major part. Working with installers is another one. Talk about some of the ones that you're focusing on a great deal at this point.
Well, I mean, primarily we're in the marketplace to establish standards and guidelines for wood flooring. It's a natural product, so things happen differently to it based on the environment than happen in some of the other floor covering areas. So it's important for us to be able to make as many wood flooring installations successful as possible. And the only way you can do that is with training and education. And the difference in the marketplace today is that so much more of the product is factory finish versus unfinished, say 15 years ago, that lots and lots of other people are selling wood flooring that weren't traditionally core wood flooring professionals. So we have to now broaden our scope of education, and that's one of the ways that working with some of the other organizations is very helpful. And quite honestly, moisture is moisture no matter which floor covering you're using. So it's an issue for all of us to address on an ongoing basis.
You're saying sand and finish to pre-finished. I guess that's changed the complexion of your whole organization over the years.
Yes, to some degree, but we also realize that whether you put in an unfinished floor or a factory finished floor, it's going to need maintenance, it's going to need upkeep, it'll have to be refinished at some point. So it's not that sand and finish has gone away per se as much as it's just shifted where it's used in the market.
Growth in the wood flooring arena, I think it is obviously one of the hot properties. What sort of growth do you see going forward in wood flooring?
Well, I think we see exponential growth. The last 2 years we've been double-digit growth, and we're really just behind LVT, so it's a very good growth category. The concern that we really have right now is really supply and installation supply. So on the front end of the supply chain, we have issues with getting enough lumber out of the forest. And the manufacturers we're talking to this week are all looking for ways to source more U.S. lumber. So there's a real need on that end. And if you look at the cost of a container, say from the States versus a container from France right now, it's more than triple the cost. So there's a real concern that we want to make sure that we don't somehow outprice ourselves out of the market. That's a real concern, but you have to cover the cost, and there's only so much of that you can pass along to the consumer. On the flip side of that, wood is growing so quickly, and we had so many installers go off to do something else during the recession that to have enough trained installers out in the marketplace is going to be hard for us to keep up with that, with the demand of installation too.
In so many areas, talking about installation, people have told me about the graying of the installation community. I've seen that in carpet and other areas. Is that an issue in wood?
By graying,
aging.
Oh yes, yes. I mean, I think we saw a lot of people that were baby boomers that decided, this recession is going to last a while, and they said, let's just cash it in and we're done. We saw that happen a lot, and of course, the major bulk of our population is our baby boomers who are in that age that's starting to hit retirement. So of course that's a concern moving forward. But we've also seen some innovations in installation techniques and what the product does across the industry, not just in wood, that make it more of an efficient process too. So I think we have to look at some of those pieces in order to meet that shrinking installation base.
Younger people apprehensive about getting into trades where you work with your hands, maybe getting dirty? I'm wondering if the inflow of younger people coming in, is that a problem?
Yes, of course I think that's a problem. But I also think there's sort of a shift in the way we think about education, and the fact that a lot of people now, as they're coming out of high school, say, well, if I don't have a path that requires a four-year degree, why don't I just get my specialized area? So we're working with some technical colleges to look at some ways that we could attract people coming out of high school that don't want a four-year degree, that would be interested in more of a trade level, because not everyone goes on for a four-year degree. And so looking at some ways that we can sort of bring new faces into that and basically be there for their entire career. If we can get them coming in out of high school and they're familiar with the training, then we've made the installation process great for an entire career, as opposed to someone finding us 10 years into the process.
Well, there's an awful lot of players in the installation community that have done very, very well by themselves. I suspect there's a lot more that could do equally as well.
Yes, I think so, and I think there's a lot of opportunity, as you were saying, with the graying market for someone to come in and really make a good living.
For people maybe that have been contemplating going to your expo, give them some information if they want to learn more and sign up at this point in time. What do they do?
Sure. All you need to do is come to the NWFA website, nwfa.org. There's a banner on the front page that'll take you right to the expo registration process. And, we really think attendance is going to go through the roof this year. We've got really some exciting things happening to keep everybody going. And I think what's really great for us is it's finally okay to have fun in business. So I think this is the first year we're really going to see people go back to pre-recession types of meetings where a lot of business gets done, but we also get to have some fun, and it's okay to do that.
There's great food and entertainment in Nashville as well.
Oh, there is. We're downtown right at it's a brand new convention center, really built perfectly for us. It's in the shape of a guitar, so there's a lot of natural wood tones used throughout the whole building. It's LEED certified silver building, so it's very renewable. There's a brand new Omni Hotel right across the street, so it's really easy to get back and forth between the center and the hotel. But we're also a block from Honky Tonk Row, so the Country Music Hall of Fame is attached to the hotel, and then you walk another few feet and you're in all the restaurants in the entertainment district. So there are many options to use your hours off of the show floor.
As you mentioned, a great drive-in city as well.
Yes. Yeah, we're really thrilled with Nashville. They've done a great job to help us be ready for this show, and we're really just very excited to see the numbers come in where they're at.
We'll see you there.
Absolutely, we look forward to it. Thanks.
Thanks so much. It's great talking with you.
Thank you.
and we'll see you in Nashville.
Thank you.
I'm talking with Michael Martin. He is Executive Director of the National Wood Flooring Association. We're coming from Domotex Asia ChinaFloor 2014. This is Talk Floor TV.